Hello everyone and welcome back to Motive English. Today I want to share with you the story of a man whose vision, creativity, and persistence changed the world. His name was Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, and through his journey we can see how one person with passion and courage can transform the way millions of people live and connect with technology. Steve Jobs was one of the most creative and inspiring leaders of modern times. He was not only the co-founder of Apple but also a man who changed the way people use technology in their daily lives. His story is full of ups and downs, but through his journey we can see how passion, focus, and persistence can create something truly amazing. Jobs is remembered as a person who believed that technology can be both powerful and beautiful, and his dream helped shape the world we live in today. Steve Jobs was born in 1955 in San Francisco and was adopted by a kind family. From a young age he showed interest in electronics and design. He was curious about how things worked, and he loved to learn in his own way. When he grew older he went to college, but he soon left because he wanted to learn outside the classroom. This was a brave decision, because leaving school was risky, but Jobs believed that following his curiosity was more important than following tradition. In 1976, Steve Jobs and his friend Steve Wozniak started Apple in a small garage. They wanted to make personal computers simple and friendly, so that ordinary people could use them. At that time, computers were big, expensive, and difficult, but Jobs had a vision that one day a computer would sit in every home and every office. Their first products were not perfect, but they caught attention because they were fresh and different. Jobs believed that design was as important as function, so he wanted the computer to look beautiful as well as work well. Apple grew quickly, and by the 1980s it became a famous company. However, success also brought conflict. Jobs was young and demanding, and not everyone agreed with his style. In 1985 he was pushed out of Apple, the very company he had created. This was a painful moment, but instead of giving up, Jobs used the time to start new projects. He created Next, a computer company with new ideas, and he bought a small animation studio that later became Pixar. Pixar would go on to make wonderful films like Toy Story, which changed the world of animation forever. Even when he was away from Apple, Jobs continued to dream big and to create. In the 1990s, Apple started to lose power, and the company was in trouble. In 1997, Apple asked Jobs to return, and this moment became the beginning of one of the greatest comebacks in business history. Jobs brought new energy, clear vision, and simple design. He said that Apple must focus on a few great products instead of many average ones. Under his leadership, Apple created the iMac, which was colorful and fun, and it brought excitement back to the brand. This was only the start of a series of innovations. Jobs then led Apple to create the iPod, which changed the way people listened to music, the iPhone, which changed the way people communicated, and the iPad, which created a new kind of device between phone and computer. Each product was not only useful but also beautiful, because Jobs believed that design is the soul of a product. He wanted people to feel joy when they used technology, not only function. These devices did not just improve life, they transformed culture, music, communication, and even the way people think. What made Steve Jobs special was not only his products, but also his philosophy. He believed that you must follow your heart and trust your inner voice. He once said that remembering you will die is the best way to avoid thinking you have something to lose. And this belief gave him courage to take risks. He also believed that people should stay hungry and stay foolish, which means always be curious and never be afraid to try new things. Jobs showed that failure is not the end, but only a step toward growth. Steve Jobs was also known for his attention to detail. He could spend hours talking about the curve of a product or the look of a font. Some people thought he was too strict, but this passion for perfection made Apple products stand out. He believed that customers could feel the difference when something was made with love and care. His leadership was not always easy, but it inspired his team to go beyond limits and create things they thought were impossible. In 2011, Steve Jobs passed away, but his spirit lives on in every Apple store, in every iPhone, in every Pixar film, and in the way technology has become part of our lives. He showed the world that one person with a clear vision can change the future. He proved that success is not only about money, but about leaving a mark that inspires generations. His life story tells us that passion, creativity, and persistence can turn even the biggest challenges into stepping stones toward greatness. Today, Steve Jobs is remembered as a visionary who dreamed of a better world and then worked to build it. His journey teaches us that you do not need to be the smartest or the richest to make a difference. You need courage to follow your heart, strength to keep going when you fail, and vision to see what others cannot see. Jobs believed in thinking different, and because of that belief, he changed not only the computer industry, but also the way humans connect with technology and with each other. The legacy of Steve Jobs is not only Apple products, but also the idea that innovation comes from people who dare to dream and dare to act. Anyone can learn from his story, whether you are a student, a worker, or a leader, because the lesson is clear. When you combine passion with persistence, and when you dare to think differently, you can shape the future. Steve Jobs reminds us that the most powerful tool we have is our imagination. And if we use it with courage and love, we can make magic happen in the real world. Thank you for watching and for being with us on this journey through the life of Steve Jobs. We hope his story inspires you to follow your own dreams, to think differently, and to never give up on creating something meaningful. See you again in the next episode of Motive English.